Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at HIMS and HERS health. It is time for another update, and on this chart we have been tracking this idea of a large leading diagonal to form a larger 5-wave move to the upside, where so far we have completed the wave 1 and the wave 2, and in my preferred interpretation we are at the moment tracking a 5th wave to the upside. Now within this interpretation we have an A wave that topped here, a B wave down, and a C wave that would be unfolding right now. And I do actually have other scenarios that are possible and very much in play. They are just a bit even more bullish than what we are tracking right now, and they would actually imply that this was instead the entire wave A, which actually fits in quite nicely. We would have here instead a wave B correction, and then this would be a 1-2 setup with a third wave expected to unfold within this area. Now this would actually imply that within this next move to the upside we have even wilder targets, even bigger movements that are expected, and I would like to see some evidence before we actually track such a bullish interpretation. And as of right now, yeah, this scenario that we are tracking a 5th wave fits better in terms of the overall internal structure expectations within this area. But if this is to be a 1-2 setup, a third wave would have here the ideal target at the $244 level at the 138.2% extension of the wave 1. But right now we are tracking this as an internal wave 5 that is expected to develop, and instead we would be tracking an internal ABC movement that is expected to instead get to the 100% extension of the wave A, the wave C. That is the ideal target, the $94.8 level, based on the latest low, which we did form a lower low since the previous video, but we still did not manage to break the area of support, and we are still looking with high likelihood for continuation higher, especially as within the initial wave A to the upside we actually did manage to create here a 5-wave move. This is actually a very interesting trade setup, and I have been regarding it as such, and continuation higher still remains highly preferred, especially as long as we hold the $30 level at the 78.6% retracement. This has been the same scenario ever since we actually started covering this chart. We have been looking for this idea of an ABC movement, and ever since we actually formed this additional top within the wave A, we had a 5-wave move to the upside, we were tracking a 3-wave correction, and we were looking for continuation higher within a wave C. Now, since we actually extended lower, we do need to be tracking possible further extensions, because so far there are no signals that this structure has bottomed. There are no confirmations, let's say, because the structure to the downside could easily be considered complete. Now, within this pattern, we were tracking initially a 5-wave move within the wave C that could have been complete here already, but since we got here an extension lower, I am more focused on the bearish scenario we were tracking in orange. But before we put that here on the chart, I wanted to showcase that yes, we did have here an area of support for continuation higher within a wave 3. It did even generate a reaction at multiple of its levels, the first level of support, the second level of support, reaction each time, then third level of support, reaction a couple of times already, and then the last level of support, another reaction. But this was not regarded as a high probability trade setup. This initial movement to the upside was regarded as an initial 5-wave move. We were looking for a 3-wave correction with high probability for another 5-wave move to the upside, but once this was done, we actually completed just an ABC structure, could be counted very easily as such, that actually fit very well with what we have here in the orange interpretation, where this was a wave 4 in an ABC movement into the 50% retracement, where in the orange interpretation we were instead tracking here a 1-2 setup, a third wave down, fourth wave up, and then a 5th wave to form to the downside. Now, this could actually very easily also work out even as an impulse. It's not necessarily preferred based on the internal structure within this wave 3, but I am sure we could actually get it to work. And it doesn't really matter because within this movement to the downside, it could be complete. I wouldn't necessarily say we absolutely need to build a larger wave B correction and then a C wave extension, but I will be definitely tracking such an area of resistance for such an interpretation. Now, this is assuming that the internal wave A is complete, because even this structure to the downside could still extend, but it's not something we will be going to focus on. Now, In yellow, we will once again attempt to track continuation higher, and in orange, we will track still possible further extension lower. And in this case, we would be watching here the levels between the $35.2 all the way up to the $38.9 level. So far, as we pushed into the 38.2% retracement in this supposed wave B, we have actually gotten rejected a couple of times, but to be honest, this isn't too surprising as within this structure to the upside, even as we are tracking a potential 5-wave move to develop here in a larger leading diagonal in a yellow scenario. We do expect this third wave to have topped here, and in this larger wave 4 correction, we do still have some room for this retracement to take place. And so far within such an interpretation, we have gotten to the 38.2% retracement, and that is the ideal target for a wave 4. I would ideally like for this pattern to the downside within the wave 4 to already be complete, but there seems to still be some pressure ongoing, and unfortunately, until we actually build the initial 5-wave move to the upside, I cannot give you a reliable trade setup to look for internally for a potential 1-2 movement that could take us in a very strong and reliable and rather ideally strong third wave to the upside, because again, this could once again just form a larger ABC movement even once we actually build the initial 5-wave structure. Yeah, the same thing happened here. We had the 5-wave move to the upside, we had the 3-wave correction, and we were looking with high probability for continuation. We did get it, but that doesn't need to be a very strong movement. It can be just a simple wave. See, well, the same thing can happen here, but right now we in fact don't even have the initial 5-wave structure up. And for that, we are going to track continuation higher as long as we hold here the $33.8 level, where if we actually break below the 61.8% retracement, we need to be prepared for further continuation lower within the wave C in orange. Although I do want to mention, it's not an absolute necessity to break down if we don't manage to hold the level of support, but we will not manage to create a reliable 5-wave move to the upside within this area. We will need to be resuming to tracking unreliable patterns in the long side at the very least. Yeah, this could work out as something like an initial wave A, we have here a wave B correction, then a C wave to extend even higher, but this is not reliable. This could very easily also take part of the wave B. We cannot be looking with high likelihood even for the follow-up wave C to the upside in the 5-wave move, because the wave B could already be complete at this point and we could be heading in a wave C to the downside. Yeah, and potentially even breaking the larger area of support. And it is unfortunate, it's not necessarily ideal to break the larger area of support, because that would likely suggest that we will overall fail to hold even the wave 4 retracement we have been tracking, that we will not manage to follow through in continuation higher, and that we will be tracking overall a larger scenario that is more bullish, because this would be instead of a wave 3 and expecting here a wave 5, we would be tracking a 1-2 setup, and we would be tracking a wave 3, but it would not have a high probability 5-wave move to the upside that would suggest us that we should be looking for a trade setup in such an area. And we will once again resume to track an internal initial 5-wave move to the upside as we have tracked here this initial wave A. Now, ideally, we do hold the area of support, but for now, we have to deal with the smaller time frame where there seems to still be a lot of weakness, and unfortunately there is no clear path that suggests in this small time frame we should expect direct continuation higher. And for now, these are the levels, this is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, don't forget to subscribe and let me know what else you want me to cover, and I'll do my best to do that in the days and weeks ahead. And until then, I hope you have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.